Hello, and welcome to another video to teach you about the wonderful world of Latin. Today's video is going to teach you about the irregular verb possum posse. This is very similar to the other irregular verb that you know and that we talked about in our last video, sum esse to be. Here are all of its forms as a quick reminder. Eram eras erat, eramus eratus erant, in the imperfect, sum as est, sumus estis sunt, in the present, and ero eris erit, erimus eritus erunt, in the future. Before we talk about our irregular verb possum posse, let's take a step back and think about what do I mean by irregular verbs? Well, there are regular verbs that follow normal patterns to figure out their forms and conjugate them. These are the verbs in your four conjugations, like your first conjugation verbs amo amare, second conjugation monio monere, third conjugation dico dicere, and fourth conjugation venio venire. And then there are the few irregular verbs. These do not follow those normal patterns in the present system. So you really do just have to memorize their forms in the present, imperfect, and future tenses. Conveniently, there are not very many of these irregular verbs. There's sum esse, possum posse, fero fere, volo vele, and fio fiere. The textbook Wheelock will introduce them throughout the course of its chapters, so right now we can just focus on sum esse and possum posse. So you don't have to worry about the others for now. So let's look at the forms of possum and what exactly it means. So possum posse can be translated as to be able, or to can, or to could. That it doesn't really say, though, what someone is able, or what they can do, or what they could do. In order to complete the meaning of your verb possum posse, you need a complementary infinitive, like to give. So in the example sentence, I am able to give gifts, the complementary infinitive, or the infinitive that completes the meaning of I am able, that complementary infinitive is to give. We've seen these complementary infinitives before with the verb debeo debere, to owe or to ought. You need your complementary infinitive to say what you ought to do, or audeo audere, to dare, so what you dare to do. So keep in mind that whenever you see possum posse, you will need that complementary infinitive. So let's give an example of this in Latin. If we translate our sentence, I am able to give gifts, into Latin. Well, conveniently, your first principal part, like all verbs, is your first person singular present active indicative. So I am able is possum. And then we need our complementary infinitive, meaning to give, so dare. And then we need our accusative plural noun for gifts. And if you remember, our neuter noun for gift is donum doni. So possum dare dona. Now let's look at the rest of our forms in addition to this first person singular present active indicative. Let's start with the present tense. Like I said, the present tense forms of possum posse are very similar to your forms of sum esse. And that's because the verb possum is really coming from the irregular adjective potus, meaning able, capable, and adding on sum esse. So I am, sum, and potus, able. So when this is combined, it's taking off that is and using just your forms of sum esse. So pot plus sum esse. And that gives you this: potsum, potes, potest, potsumus, potestis, potsunt. But if you kind of notice me reading those, three of those forms, potsum, potsumus, potsunt, are really not that easy to say. That T and S together are not great sounding for Latin. So the T gets changed to an S. And possum for I am able, possumus, we are able, and possunt, they are able, are much easier to say. But notice that potes and potest and potestis have different looking stems. This is what makes possum an irregular verb. Let's look at our imperfect forms of possum posse. That again, you take your pot from potus and you're adding your imperfect forms of sum esse. So poteram, I was able. Poteras, you were able. Poterat, he, she, or it was able. Poteramus, we were able. Poteratus, y'all were able. And poterant, they were able. That notice you don't have to change any of your T's to an S because there is no S that starts off any of the imperfect forms of sum esse. So now let's talk about our future forms of possum. Again, these are pot from potus plus your future forms of sum esse. So potero, I will be able. Poteris, you will be able. Poterit, he, she, or it will be able. Poterimus, we will be able. Poteritus, y'all will be able. And poterunt, they will be able. So overall, here are all of your present system forms of sum esse. Pause the video, make sure you've copied all of these down correctly, and then resume to think about how to translate this verb. So let's talk about how to translate our verb possum posse. If you remember from an earlier video, there are two strategies for translating Latin. One strategy is that you find the verb in conjunctions and then build out the rest of the sentence's meaning from your verb after separating our clauses with the conjunctions. The second strategy is to parse every word and then piece your puzzle together based on how each of the cases and other endings make your words connect. We'll use each of these strategies to translate a sentence with possum posse to show you how it will work. Let's start with our first strategy, finding our verb in conjunctions. Well, there are no conjunctions in this sentence, tyrannos superare non poterimus, but we do have two verbs, superare and poterimus. That one of these two verbs is a form of sum or possum posse. So you should be thinking, well, we need a complementary infinitive to go with possum and posse. Conveniently, superare is your second principal part, so it is the present active infinitive. So it will be the complementary infinitive. Now, let's think about what our main verb, poterimus, is. It is our first person plural future active indicative verb. So we will be able, but we have that not, the known right there, so we will not be able. And then we will not be able to what? Oh, right, the complementary infinitive superare. We will not be able to overcome. And what are you not going to be able to overcome? Well, there's an accusative direct object, tyrannos. So we will not be able to overcome the tyrants. So that's one strategy for translating your verb possum posse, finding your verb, working out from there. Let's take our other strategy of parsing every word to translate our sentence in patria vestra heri non poterat remanere. So pause the video and parse every word. So hopefully this is what you have. Now let's use our clues about how to piece the puzzle together based off of what we have for parsing. So all the nouns and adjectives will go together. So remember, for an adjective to modify a noun, they need to agree in gender, number, and case. So what adjectives modify what nouns? Well, patria is modified by vestra. We don't have any genitives to tell us more about any nouns, but we do have a preposition. So what is the object of this preposition and the whole prepositional phrase? Yeah, in patria vestra, the ablative singular patria vestra will be our ablative object that we want with in. We also have some adverbs. So what verbs do they modify? That they modify poterat because it's your main verb in the sentence. We don't have any nominative subject in our sentence, so that doesn't help us with our other puzzle piece. But because we have poterat, we can add another set of puzzle pieces to our habits of connecting words. With possum posse, as we've said a few times, we need a complementary infinitive. So where's the complementary infinitive to work with poterat? It's remanere. So now that you have all of our puzzle pieces and words connected based on that, we need to put our sentence together. Remember, for English sentences, they will follow the subject, verb, object, word order. And prepositional phrases can go wherever they make sense in the context of the sentence. That usually it works well to leave them wherever they are in the word order in the Latin sentence. So let's start with in patria vestra, in your fatherland. And then we go to our subject. Since we don't have a nominative, it's in our verb poterat. He was not able, or she was not able, that not coming from our non. And then from our poterat, we need to complete our whole verb unit, remanere. So he was not able to remain. And then we can add in our other adverb, heri, yesterday. In your fatherland, he was not able to remain yesterday. And that translates every single one of our words. We don't have a direct object, so we don't need to add one in this sentence. You could also have said, he was not able to remain in your fatherland yesterday. Now it's your turn to check your understanding. Please complete these tasks of conjugating our verb possum posse and translating a sentence that involves this verb, and then call me over and I will check your work. Once you have all of these answers correct, I will give you your next task. Thank you for watching this video,